Okay. I'm a big advocate of having a dividend growth investing strategy. But what are dividends and why are so many people wanting to have a dividend investment strategy? In this video, I'm going to show you what exactly dividends are and how you can develop your own dividend investing strategy. Let's get started. Hi everybody, I'm Mark and welcome to Mediocre Money. This is my YouTube channel where I bring you personal finance advice, strategies, and research to help you become financially independent. So we got to start off by asking the question, what are dividends? And it starts with a business. When you run a business, it generates profits, or at least a good business should generate profits. Startups. Now, after you generate these profits, management teams have to figure out what to do with them. Most companies will put this money back into the business somehow, trying to create new products or make efficiencies or generate new revenue streams, which will hopefully, fingers crossed, generate more profits in the future, or at least make the business more valuable. Now, that's all fine and dandy. However, a lot of businesses suck at creating growth, or they're in an industry where growth is slower and linear. For example, some real estate companies have great cash flow. However, even just adding one new additional property, it takes a lot of money, debt, and time to get that one new property added to their portfolio. So there's not really necessarily a lot of quick growth value in a company like that. And then there's also some companies that have already maximized their potential growth and have achieved world domination, like companies like Coca-Cola, which don't just own Coca-Cola, the nasty black drink that everyone except me loves, but they own everything from vitamin water to actual just bottled water. So for these companies that are not growing quickly or exponentially, or have achieved world domination, so the real estate companies and Coca-Colas of the world, they all still have investors. They have large hedge fund investors from professional big banks, and they have individual investors like you and me. And they need to provide some sort of incentive for you and me to continue to invest in them. And because their stock price doesn't have a lot of room to grow, they decide to give you and me some cash instead. And that little bit of cash you receive is called a dividend. It's usually reported as a percentage and referred to as the yield. Dividends usually range between 1 and 12%. So if you own $1,000 worth of Coca-Cola and they're paying you 10% dividends, you're going to earn about $100 of cash every year. Now, depending on the company, they pay out these dividends on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis. But why are dividends so great? I mean, what's the hype about them? Now, I'm not the sharpest bulb in the toolbox, but I've heard Albert Einstein is one smart cookie. And Albert Einstein once said that the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. Now, without getting into compound interest too much, compound interest is essentially the process or how to explain why money can make money. Now, growth is one way that our money can make more money. So for example, if you own Apple and Apple grew 20% last year and is going to grow 20% this year. Well, when it grows this year, the 20% you earned last year is also growing 20%. So you can see that the money you previously earned from profits is going to continue to expand, so your money is making more money. So when stocks don't have that potential to grow, a lot of them will offer dividends. And they give dividends because we, as investors, can take those dividends, buy more of either that stock or another stock, and in the next year, those dividends will also grow. So dividends allow us to continue to have compound growth with companies that might not be growing that much value. Now be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm gonna be telling you guys the single best reason why dividends are amazing and why everyone should have dividends. So let's talk about my dividend growth strategy. Now, this is just what I do for dividend investing. And before you go taking any dividend investment strategy advice from me or other people or financial advisors, whoever, it's really important that we all have our own investing strategy and our own dividend investing strategy. And that's because when it comes to personal finances, well, it's just that, it's personal. What works for me might not be what works for you, and that's okay. So I prefer to keep my tax advantage accounts holding more high growth funds. So my tax advantage accounts, because I'm Canadian, are my TFSA and RRSP. And I like to hold funds like VEQT and VFV in those tax advantage accounts, for the primary reason that those are more likely to grow exponentially, and that growth will be tax-free. But there's still a huge benefit of dividends that you can take advantage of, and that's receiving dividends in non-tax advantaged accounts. That's right, so like just a regular cash investment account or a margin investment account. Now, when you receive a dividend from a non-tax advantaged account, so just a regular investment account, that will be considered taxable income. Now, I know that no one loves to pay taxes, but I have some good news for you. And it's why dividends are so freaking awesome. Dividends are not taxed as nearly as much as your salary is. As a matter of fact, in Canada, you can receive up to $48,000 per year in dividends tax-free or nearly tax-free, depending on the province that you live in. And the same thing goes with the US. But even if you earn more than that in dividends, dividends are still taxed dramatically less than any salary ever would be taxed. Dividend tax for things that are over $50,000 tend to range between 5 to 16%, which is dramatically lower than how much you pay in your salary, which is usually between 25 and 40 or 50%. And so that means that we can use that $48,000 of tax-free income to invest in more funds to give us even more dividends. And you can see how that's going to quickly evolve into lots of very low tax income for us. Now, one last really important point about dividends. Please, 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 I pray that you do not go looking for individual stocks or individual REITs, real estate investment trusts, that have the highest paying dividends. I used to try this. I used to try going and I would find a stock or an REIT that had a 12% dividend, and I'd get so happy because I'd be like, yes, there's going to be great growth. But what happens is that companies and even REITs, they change their dividend payments more frequently than we would like, or at least more frequently than I would like. Now, one of my investment principles is to buy and hold for the long term. I don't want a second job having to keep track of which funds I own or which REITs I own or stocks I own that have stopped paying out their dividends. And what's even more is if you have one of these low growth stocks that are paying a good dividend, if they cut it, well, now you're just left holding a stock that's not going to grow and not going to pay you any dividends. So what's the point in holding it? Now you're going to have to buy and sell and find something else again. So that's far from ideal for me. So what I recommend is finding a fixed income fund that's low cost that has a relatively high dividend payout. For me personally, I like the fund VRE from Vanguard. Vanguard is the industry leader for having low cost funds, and I believe their payout ranges between 5 to 7, even 8% as a dividend yield. If you enjoyed this video and liked the way I explained investing and stocks and dividends to you, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel by hitting the button down here. Come on, I hope it's down here. Or no, maybe it's a circle right here. I think it's a circle. And I would really appreciate it if you smash the like button, give me a big thumbs up, because that helps promote this video to other people who could also learn about dividends. So I really appreciate it if you did that. And by all means, follow me on Instagram, where I try to post frequently with helpful personal finance advice. And my YouTube channel will be blooming with more personal finance advice, and it comes from you. So if you have something that you'd like me to look into, comment on this video or any other of my videos and let me know what you'd like to hear, and I'm happy to make a video about it. So this video came from Caesar, and that was his idea to learn more about dividends, and so that's why I made this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you all are taking care and safe. Peace out.